Now, I like to try and teach people that just about anywhere can grow. So we go ahead and try to use different containers, like this little takeout container. We're going to be converting that into a microgreen grower so you can grow your own microgreens. And we've used just about anything. There's other sizes of takeout containers. That one just says KFC on it, right? And we're going to convert that into a little grower. Grew some kale. So things that you might throw away, like this milk carton. There's another milk carton. We grow in all kinds of different containers. So just about anything you can imagine that can hold water, you can basically learn how to grow your own plants. So it's pretty cool. Different containers you can use. This one's just a little one we got in Walmart, a little snack container. I've even got this in a Dollar Tree. Not expensive at all. It's a little sippy cup. And I just took it and flipped the lid over. We cut some slots in it. And we grew some just like this. I'll show you a picture of that. So, as you can see, it's pretty cool. There's really neat things you can do. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and show you how to turn one of these into a microgreen grower. Tell you how to grow your very own microgreens. And then, in a future video, once your microgreens have grown, then you're going to watch one and learn how to take them from here, put them into your bigger container, and let them grow even larger. So, we're going to put this aside for right now. And we're just going to work on our microgreens. Basically, original gardening, you get the earth, right? That's the ground. You put your seed, you plant your seed. And then after a while, it'd rain a little bit, right? You get a little rain, you get sunlight, and it starts to grow some roots. And then it sprouts, right? Y'all know when that happens. You see it, the little thing sprouting out in the garden. And then it grows a couple of leaves. This first set of leaves are called cotyledon. And when it gets to that stage, basically that's your microgreen. That's what we have here. As they grow bigger, I'll grow the next set of true leaves. But right then you can harvest it, and that's what you hear everybody talking about, microgreens. And that's it out in the ground. So we're going to grow it in here in a little bit of soil, but we're going to make it self-watering so you don't have to take care of it and watch it 3 or 4 or 5 times a day. Okay? Now when it gets to that point, we're going to take it out and put it in a container. And basically it's just taking, instead of the ground here, we're just going to have a container, which is your container that you have. And we're going to fill it up with nutrient solution. This seed's going to be gone, right? But all these roots are going to be hanging down here into the nutrient solution. So we're going to take one of these containers, and if you've got this, I've already cut the slots in here for you. But all we're going to do is any container that you can get, that you can flip over, and it'll sit in there without falling off. And it's got a little bit of a lip so you can get a little bit of soil in. That's all you need. And that's why we've got different containers like this. See, we just flip the lid over, it fits inside of there. So instead of going into the landfill, you can grow your own food, right? So let's go ahead and plant some out real quick, and I'll bring you in for a close-up so you can see, so don't worry. Alright, so you've got this, you're all set up. All we're going to do is take some paper towel. You know, I like to get a couple of sheets. Now you guys, your paper towels may be a different size. You know, not all paper towels are the same. Some are bigger sheets, some are wider, some are smaller. But basically you want to have it so that it's about the same size so they'll fit through the slot. So just take a couple. I've got about 3 layers there, 3 or 4, you know, fold it over, but just kind of fold it so that it fits. See that right there? And then that way you can take it and just slide it right through the slot. Now go from, have it upside down, because this lip up here is where your soil is going to be inside of it. So go from the inside of the lid and slide it through one side. Just like that. Not hard at all, right? And you don't have to go very far because it's only got to be about that deep. Okay? Now take the other side, it's folded, and slide it in through that side on there. And let it come out about a good 2 to 3 inches, something like that. And what's left here, just kind of fold to both sides and flatten it out so it's a little bit bigger. Your slots, I think that I cut for you so you wouldn't have to do this. I think I made your slots a little farther apart so you might not have to fold it like that. Just push it down, right? Now you see that? So this used to be the top, the outside, right? That's the inside. This is where we're going to be growing this stuff. Now we'll get the container and see how it fit right on top of there. Now all we'll do is plain water. Don't worry about your nutrients or anything right now. For the microgreens, we're just going to use water. And just fill that up. Okay, doesn't have to be right to the top. Now my table that I'm sitting on is a little off level because I'm in the garage, so you're probably going to be sitting on a more level table at home. And you take this and set it in there. And once you set that on top, you can watch and you'll see the water capillary action will start to wick up. And as the paper towel absorbs it, you can see it. That's the magic right there. That's what's going to keep you from having to come in and spritz and spray this every 4 to 6, 8 hours at home. This will do it on its own. So you can see that it just soaked it up, right? Now, all we have to do is put a little soil in it. I like to use a seed starting soil. So if you get any kind of potting mix, or if your teacher gives you a little, your teacher may have gave you some, but I just use Jiffy. This is natural seed starting mix because this is used for starting seeds, and basically that's what we're doing. So there's a tiny bit of nutrients in there. You don't want to put too much because it's going to burn your little tiny plants. They don't need as much nutrients as a mature plant. So this was specifically made for growing seeds, starting seeds, so works perfect for me. And we're going to just take it, and if there's any real big clumps, kind of want to just break those clumps up. So you don't want any big clumps in that, and just put a little bit in here. Now spread it around a little. Now all of this, when it's touching it, that wick will suck the water up and the soil will start to absorb it. And it'll keep it nice and moist for your seeds to start. Now you can let that sit for a little while and the moisture will start to absorb into the soil. If you're in a real hurry, if you've got a little spray bottle and you don't want to wait for it to soak up all that water, just kind of spray it. Don't do it a lot of pressure because you spray soil all over the place. Just wet it down, get it damp, right? And then you get your seeds. I'm gonna do the mustard seeds because they're a light color and you can see it a little better on here. If I did a dark color seed like that, it would be a little harder for you to see what's going on here. So these are mustard seeds, but whatever seed you're using, it might not look exactly like this one, but you'll get the general idea of what to do. So this is a contrast to the dark soil. You'll be able to see it. And all we're going to do is just take it and sprinkle it around nice and even over the entire thing. Try to keep within like where your 2 slots are. That little area where the paper towel is underneath of it. Try to keep inside of that area right there. So we're just going to come in and sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Try not to do too much more than this, because if you get it packed in too much, you have problems with mold and mildew because it's too packed in there and you won't get enough air circulation. But just like that, just spread them around. You guys can come in and see that. So nothing hard at all, right? Now what I like to do is those are on there. They're sitting in the moisture. They're going to go ahead and get ready to germinate. Then what we like to do is take a little bit more and you just want to sprinkle a little bit on top. Doesn't have to be very much. So once these germinate, if you've got a tiny little fan, like a small fan, I'll show you a picture of mine that I have, and you can circulate a little bit of air around, and that moisture will come up from underneath. And basically that's all you have to do. Just come in here, just don't tamp it down or anything, just kind of lightly spread that out. Now the one last thing you want to do is cover it up. And I usually use one of my containers just like this. I've got a bunch of these sitting around, but you might not have one like that. That's just the, if you guys have noticed, a little soup or ramen comes in a store. Our family eats a lot of ramen. We save these and they're perfect for covering up and making it black. So you want it to be dark because you want these things to think they're underground, it's dark, and it's getting ready to sprout, right? And this is going to help hold the humidity in. So you can take this, if you got one of these sitting around the house and you got your little spritzer, just spray it a little bit. That way it keeps it a little moist in here when you put it on like that, and it keeps a little bit of humidity in there. Now if you don't have one of these, we're just going to get some foil, a little bit of aluminum foil. And we'll do the same thing, just go ahead and spritz it a little bit, just like that. If you don't have the spray bottle, just run it under some water, dump the water off, and then just make sure it's just a little damp. Set it right on top like that, and don't squeeze hard, you're not wrapping up leftovers, right? Just kind of lightly close the sides. You can see it's nice and gentle. And then just leave it. Now that will sit. You want to take this and put it in a dark spot so that there's not too much light coming in. And you want it to be relatively warm. Somewhere around 78 degrees would be cool, or whatever the temperature your house is. Don't leave this in your basement or somewhere where it's like cold or it's like under 60 degrees. The seeds won't germinate. Make sure if it's comfortable for you in your house that would be a good spot for it. If it's kind of chilly in your house, you might want to set this like on top of your refrigerator or another spot in the house that you can feel it, you know, it's a tiny bit warm. You know, not warm like 90 degrees or anything, or like you're hot outside, but just where you feel comfortable. So set that aside for a couple of days and leave it alone. Lots of people like to mess with it. You can come in and check like 1 or 2 days, peek in there. The seeds are going to take 2 to 3 days to even start to germinate. Depends on what kind of plants you're growing. Some take a little bit longer to germinate, so be a little patient. But come in and you can peek at it, and if it looks really dry in the beginning, lift that up, spritz it again, right, and set it back on top, and just let it be. And before you know it, you're gonna have some sprouts. You guys just let it go for about 4 or 5 days, and when they get yay big, go ahead and take this lid off, and then you're gonna need some light. So if you've got a window, you're gonna want to set this somewhere close to a window, and in no time you'll have some microgreens. So we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm real excited about it because you guys are gonna learn this is part of a system of growing where I keep leafy greens growing all the time. Here in Florida, we're lucky enough I can grow outside most of the year. You guys can't. You know, some are going to have to be inside, but like I'm inside right now with some lights. If you can have some lights inside, you can grow all year round. So, live to inspire, keep on growing, and be the change. We'll catch you next time.